Ito ang Intercontinental Broadcasting Corporation. Sa bagong Pilipinas.
Usapang totoo, walang halong panloloko. Mga isyong lokal at nasyonal, lilinawin ng buong tapang at may puso. Samahan niyo ako sa isang oras na makabuluhang talakayan at serbisyong mapagkakatiwalaan kasama ang cabinet secretaries at mga opisyal ng pamahalaan. Ako po si Lanao del Sur, 1st District Representative Zia Alonto Adiong at ito ang In ConverZation. In ConverZation. Patuloy na pinapalakas at pinapalawak ng Pilipinas ang ugnayan at alyansa sa iba't ibang bansa. Aktibo ang gobyerno sa pangunguna ng Department of Foreign Affairs sa pangangasiwa sa diplomatikong relasyon, pagprotekta sa soberanya ng bansa at maging sa kapakanan ng mga Pilipinong nasa ibayong dagat. Isa rin sa mandato nito ang pagpapatupad ng foreign policy at pagsulong ng interes ng bansa at nagsisilbing chief implementer ng foreign policy si DFA Secretary Theresa Lazaro. Kilalanin natin ang isa sa mga alter ego ng Pangulo na nagsisilbing cabinet secretary mula July 2025. Panoorin po natin ito.
Higit pa sa mga diplomatikong pagpupulong at higit pa sa mga kasunduan sa pagitan ng mga bansa, ang Department of Foreign Affairs ay nagsisilbi rin sa bawat Pilipino mula sa pagproseso ng mga mahahalagang dokumento, pagtulong sa mga kababayang nasa ibayong dagat, hanggang sa pagtataguyod ng pambansang interes. Ito ang misyong patuloy na isinusulong ng DFA. Sa likod ng mga pangunahing tungkulin ng ahensya ay si Foreign Affairs Secretary Theresa Lazaro. Noong July 1, 2025, itinalaga siya ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. bilang kalihim ng kagawaran. Isang career diplomat na may mahigit 4 na dekadang karanasan sa Philippine Foreign Service. Sa loob ng kanyang karera, nagsilbi siya sa iba't ibang diplomatic posts sa Bangkok, Thailand, Geneva, Switzerland, Madrid, Spain, at New York. Naging Consul General sa Sydney, Australia at kalaunan ay Ambassador ng Pilipinas sa Bern, Switzerland at Paris, France. Pagkatapos ng kanyang tungkulin sa iba't ibang bansa, nagsilbi siya sa Department of Foreign Affairs bilang Assistant Secretary ng Office of Consular Affairs. Kalaunan, itinalaga siya bilang Undersecretary for Bilateral Relations and ASEAN Affairs bago hirangin bilang kalihim ng DFA. Bilang pagkilala sa kanyang matapat at natatanging paglilingkod sa ugnayang panlabas ng Pilipinas, ginawaran siya ng Gawad Mabini na may ranggong Dakilang Kamanong at ng Order of Sikatuna na may ranggong Grand Cross Datu. Bilang kalihim, isinusulong ni DFA Secretary Lazaro ang isang pragmatic at independent foreign policy na nakatuon sa mga pangangailangan ng mga Pilipino at sa patuloy na pagbabago ng pandaigdigang komunidad. Kabilang sa kanyang mga prioridad ang pagtatanggol sa soberanya ng Pilipinas, pagpapalawak ng economic opportunities para sa mga Pilipino at pagtitiyak sa kaligtasan at kapakanan ng mga Pilipino sa ibayong dagat. Dala ang kanyang mahabang karanasan sa larangan ng diplomasya. Patuloy niyang itataguyod ang pambansang interes at boses ng Pilipinas sa pandaigdigang entablado tungo sa mas matatag at maunlad na bagong Pilipinas.
Ano-ano ba ang mga prioridad, programa at hamong kinakaharap ng Department of Foreign Affairs? Yan at iba pang mahalagang usapin sasagutin ni Foreign Secretary Theresa Lazaro sa pagbabalik ng In ConverZation.
us to the beating heart of the southern Philippines. Discover places that captivate. Meet people who inspire. Share stories that unite. On Mindanao, every Monday to Friday at 9 a.m. Araw-araw, tutukan ang mga maiinit na talakayan. Subaybayan ang mga diskusyon ng mga usaping napapanahon. Silipin ang mga ipinapasang mga panukalang batas na may direktang epekto sa ating araw-araw na buhay. Kilalanin ang bawat kinatawan na may tungkuling magtaguyod ng kapakanan ng kanilang nasasakupan. Congress TV, Lunes hanggang Linggo.
Nagbabalik ang In ConverZation. Makakasama natin ngayon ang kalihim ng Department of Foreign Affairs, isang matagal ng diplomat at lingkod bayan na may malawak na karanasan sa pagpapalakas ng ugnayang pandaigdig ng Pilipinas, Secretary Maria Theresa Lazaro. Secretary, thank you for accepting our invitation again. I know you're very busy po kasi yung pinag-uusapan natin dito with your portfolio as Secretary of Foreign Affairs, how the Philippines can actually assert its character in the international globe. So thank you very much for accepting
It's my
our
pleasure.
request. And by the way, kumusta po kayo?
Mabuti naman. We just came from a trip to Kazan, which is Russia, kasama ang Pangulong Marcos at maliit na delegasyon. Alam niyo naman siguro naging magandang resulta doon na nahingi ni Pangulong Marcos yung 24 nating mga kababayan na naipit, na detain for certain reasons sa kalabas. Hiningi ng Pangulong Marcos ng 17 ng 17th of June, nirelease nila.
Agad-agad.
The 19th, agad-agad. Dumating na nasalubong namin kami ni Secretary Hans Kakdak nung the next day. So, that is a very important. And this is Russia. Si Presidente Putin himself was the one.
Nakita ko na po yung mga
siyang nagbigay kaagad at nagpaunlak kay Pangulong Marcos.
So I should say congratulations.
Congratulations to the President.
To the President, of course, with you there as the Secretary of the FA. Ma'am, I think my first question that I'd like to, or the public would like to know, kasi hanggang ngayon, though bumababa na rin po yung presyo ng gasolina, alam mo natin kung ano yung naging immediate effect nung biglang nagkaroon ng sigalot sa Persian, sa Gulf region. No? Ngayon, may ongoing negotiation, I guess. Pakistan also brokered. I think Pakistan brokered this negotiation.
And some other countries na like-minded.
And then meron po atang ongoing discussion in Switzerland, no? So we would like to know kasi medyo volatile pa, anything can happen. Minsan nababasa po ng ating mga kababayan sa pahayagan na medyo may back and forth yung negotiation. It's not really moving forward as we would hope.
We expect it to be.
Yes. So ano po yung possible, kasi since na there's already the issue of Lebanon, and that's also though it's a separate issue, but it's
Correct.
all connected all together
Yes.
with Israel there and Lebanon and ano po yung in-expect natin? Should there be any, for example, the one that we expect the negotiation to produce, should there be any backlash or, for example, a backtracking of this negotiation? What would happen, for example, how the Philippines would secure our interest with all these things happening now?
Tama ho kayo sa pag-describe yung volatility.
Yeah.
Talagang volatility and predictability of the negotiations. Although iniisip namin na yung MOU na pinirmahan ni President Trump and the Iranian president will sort of hold water, no? Medyo may konting may kasutuparan kung ano man yung peaceful development. However, kagaya ng sinabi nyo, may marami pang mga factors that is causing. But ano ba ang ginagawa natin? As far as the Philippines is concerned, ganun pa rin. We always make sure that one is dalawang ating pinaka-importanting iniisip Our 2.5 million Filipinos na nasa GCC yan, sa Gulf Cooperation countries alone, and that hundreds of thousands of seafarers na nagko-cross yan sa Strait of Hormuz. So, kailangan continuous na protection, kailangan na continuous na discussions with the Iranian authorities. So kasi sila may hawak na Strait of Hormuz. So yun ho ang ating yun ang ating continuous discussions at ginagawa to protect. So primordial is the protection of our Filipino workers.
Secretary, do we have the exact, for example, plan for if should there be any contingency that might happen? Kasi alam ko nung when it started, there are several, and I congratulate you on that, and also Secretary Hans, kasi we were able to repatriate, diba? How many of them now?
Mga 11,000 yun.
Oo.
At the height.
At the height.
Yes.
So hindi na ho sila nakabalik, or I think there's also an option for them to be
Bumalik na
rehired?
ho yung iba.
Oo.
Kasi bukas na rin yung mga trabaho nila na naghihintay sa kanila. So marami na rin ho bumalik. Yung iba naman siguro nag-shift din sa ibang trabaho. So ano naman, they have been quite kasi napaka-importante ng mga workers natin So hindi naman ho sila na nawawalan ng trabaho.
So in the event, for example, that the negotiation, hopefully sana mag-progress na talaga.
Yeah,
no?
yes.
Kasi isa sa pinaka-issue dyan is yung Strait of Hormuz, diba? So in case of, for example, and we hope that it should not happen, but should there be any yung failure for apologies for the for the limited lack of better word, but should there be any failure in the negotiation, do we anticipate also that we would repatriate again?
Congressman, actually, you described the word as contingency. Yung contingency system na ginagawa namin ng DFA at saka ng DMW, hindi yung nawawala yon. So, we're always on alert. Whatever happens, nandyan yung repatriation efforts, nandyan ang DMW, nandyan ang of course, one country system kami kung magtrabaho, nandyan ang OWA. So, we're always ready kung ano man mangyari. However, nagmamanman lang ho tayong lahat. In fact, as far as we're concerned, and if we're making any overtures sa kabilang gobyerno, palagi namin sinasabi na to settle the disputes peacefully. And that has been our mantra for quite some time.
So, wala naman po tayong nalalaman from other host countries, kasi you mentioned earlier that there are about how many millions of Filipinos working in
2.5 in the GCC alone.
That's the Gulf states, right?
Yes, the Gulf
Saudi
states.
Arabia,
Bahrain, UAE, Qatar, ano bang kulang ko dito?
sa Oman po. No?
Oman. Yes,
oo.
yes. So, limang
So far, wala naman po tayong natatanggap from these host countries na may mga travel advisories, alerts, something like that.
Wala
pa
so
naman.
far. Wala.
So lahat po it's already went back to normal.
In fact, Congressman, the flights are back. There was a time na hindi natin masakyan ng mga Middle Eastern flights, no? Pero ngayon everything is back to normal.
Yeah. And I should also sabihin ko personally kasi hindi pa ako nagpapasalamat sa over the phone lang po nagpasalamat. But si Secretary Secretary Theresa helped us yung mga sa Hajj.
Yes.
Yung nag-umrah po, no?
Right,
They were stranded in Saudi Arabia for couple of weeks kasi wala nga, sabi niyo po, talagang yung mga flights wala talaga. And thank you very much for
You're very welcome.
for assisting us at nakabalik na ho sila safely sa kanilang pamilya.
Well, just to add to that, kasi yung sa division ng trabaho namin ng DMW, si DMW lahat naka-concentrate sa OFWs. Kami and others. So the Hajj, yung mga nag-Hajj, students, yung married to foreign nationals. Yan ang namin. Yan ang aming kumbaga constituency namin yan.
So, kasi I'm asking these questions po kasi the public really is also eager to know exactly what would be the possible scenario na mangyayari. Kasi naramdaman na nating publiko nung unang nagkaroon ng problema, nung nagka-atake na ang Iran with the United States, may mga talagang there's already that heightened situation in the Gulf states. Yung epekto niya dito sa Pilipinas that it had Malacanang do something in order to mitigate the effects like yung pagtataas po ng mga
pagkain,
bilihin, which actually prompted the Malacanang to issue the EO 110, di ba?
Yes.
Ngayon po sa amin sa House of Representatives, there's also that counterpart, yung Kalinga bill. So that's why we're asking this question kasi hindi pa talaga siya fix kung ano talaga yung magiging sitwasyon dyan sa Gulf states. Now, also talking about global security and possible engagement with other neighbors, let's go to a more closer neighbor that we have. Recently po ang medyo may lumabas po ng mga issue about the Chinese government, no? In fact, there are also a couple of statements from the embassy of the Chinese embassy in relation to not only the mga legislators in the past couple of months ago, but now the DFA, our DND secretary, di ba? So, as a Secretary of Foreign Affairs, no, kasi nakikita natin may linabas ata ang China na hindi, correct me if I'm wrong, hindi welcome or ang ating Secretary of National Defense. Sa certain, with not only China but even yung mga some territories like in Macau or in Hong Kong. How do we now try to assert our issue on, kasi hindi ko alam kung ano yung official stand ngayon ng government Some others saying na there should be some diplomatic protest because the alter ego of the president is the Secretary Gibo. So how do we now balance our bilateral relations with China na not affecting entirely, but at the same time also maybe do probably some efforts that we should not be we should not be treated like someone who can bully by
Actually,
China.
Congressman, we issued already a statement on this. Nung in-announce ng China na parang president ng grata si Secretary Chodoro, it is a reaction na it is their sovereign right.
Okay.
Karapatan yan ng China para sabihin nila yan. In fact, sa Facebook ni Secretary Chodoro, sinabi niya rin, karapatan yan ng China. However, we don't stop at that. And we still continues pa rin ang discussions namin because we think that that is an unfriendly act and hindi nakakatulong sa magandang relasyon ng China at ng Pilipinas. So, we're doing it on the side. Continuous pa rin ang discussions namin.
Okay. Kasi while we were experiencing the effect of itong gas supply, oil supply, di ba?
Yes.
China was there to give us certain, di ba? So, ayun pong iniisip ko. So, ano po yung, I think there's already that possible exploration with that, is it correct? gas exploration or petroleum exploration between China and the Philippines. Can you confirm that, Secretary?
Ganito po yun. I think it was years back when there was already some kind of an agreement between Philippines and China on a possible exploration of a disputed area in the Reed Bank, sa Recto Bank.
Okay.
However, nirescind yung agreement na yon, and I think meron pa ring mga dahilan kasi nga na nagkaroon tayo ng problema during the Middle East crisis. I think in an interview ni Pangulong Marcos sa Bloomberg, nabanggit niya that there is this, totoo naman ho, na it has been study showed na may laman yung ano na yon, yung yung site na yon. However, as of now, wala pa hong pag-uusap on anything on this. Pero ang pinaka-basic na which is dominating the whole thing is that kung meron man magkakaroon ng agreement, if ever, yung importante lang is this should be in consonance with the Philippine Constitution. So yun lang ang aming tinitingnan.
So do we see any possible actual possible engagement or partnership with China for this exploration? May posible pa mangyari yun?
As of now, there's none, but there's always a possibility.
Okay, sige. So, yung sub-issue naman po, kasi this is all connected with the West Philippine Sea issue, our issue in that. No? How is now of course, you've already indicated the position of the DFA. Now, we will continue and pursue bilateral talks because the Philippines and China relation does not only define by the West Philippine Sea, di ba?
Correct.
So what other possible avenues that we can strengthen with our Chinese partners?
Well, the whole relations between Philippines and China, and we always say, at paulit-ulit na sinasabi namin, na yung West Philippine Sea is not the sum total of our relations. Trade is robust. Maganda ho ang kalakaran ng trade between the two countries. People-to-people relations. In fact, that's one of the very bright spots of the relations. And of course, nasabi nyo na nga, Congressman, nung tayo nangangailangan ng langis, nandun naman din sila ng energy supply natin.
Yung supply nila sa
I think so. I would think so. Of course, Department of Energy would be in the best position. Pero alam kong at that time na kailangan natin, yung supplies was dwindling, nandyan po, na meron din po silang inambag. So, there's a relations, I mean, particularly trade is doing very well.
Yeah. So, always ho kasi pag when we discuss about our relationship with other countries, mostly ang nababasa natin sa periodiko ay mostly these are in recent issues and mga balita, mostly covers bilateral discussions on strengthening our defense. There's also the tripartite between and among countries like the Philippines, Japan, and Australia. Now, people would probably have, na hindi naman po difficulty, but sometimes they overlap the functions of the DFA and that of the DND. So, paano po, how does the Foreign Affairs, complement kasi kayo po yung implementer ng foreign policy ng Presidente. How do we complement these type of arrangements or discussions with other countries in strengthening not only our bilateral discussions, economic ties, but to strengthen strategic corridors in defense of of this partnership with other countries?
Actually, that's very true kasi nga we seem to be the one really putting it all together. So, defense, ma-agriculture yan, ma-trade, ma-energy, everybody has, so there's a negotiation, let's say, a memorandum of understanding. We're part of the negotiations. And DFA is always a member of the negotiating team, and then we go through that, and then pag ang ahensya, kunyari, Department of National Defense says, okay na itong mga terms na to, then there's some kind of legal scrubbing na DFA ang in charge. Pagkatapos nun, kami po humihingi ng authority to sign sa palasyo. So, everything goes through us. And talagang ang collaboration namin with the different agencies of government is very important.
So, with this kasi may tatlo po tayong pillars, I believe, it's yung
Yes.
sinasabing national security, economic diplomacy and protection of our OFWs.
Yes.
With the countries that we have an ongoing discussion strengthening our military or defense defense strategies. We perceive that there are also quite a number of Filipinos living in these host countries,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, is the concern of the Filipinos also living in these countries part of that discussion in strengthening our bilateral or?
I think everything is considered.
Okay.
Lahat po ng aspekto ng relasyon, again, political, economic, people to people, socio-cultural, lahat ng aspekto ay kino-consider in our agreements or MOUs na pinipirmahan ho natin.
So, ibig sabihin, kasi gusto ko pong maintindihan nating taong bayan na ang pag sinabi po nating security issues with other countries, hindi lang ho ito yung defense, no? Po pwedeng food security, di
Exactly.
ba? Economic security, tama, no? So it's in there.
Just to give you a perfect example, kunyari magkakaroon tayo ng pag-uusap, and then let's say we'll talk to, let's say, Australia. In our discussions, lahat po yan nakalista. We start with political, we start with economic. So it's the whole gamut. It's the whole issues on relations. So marami ho, pati cultural kasama dyan. Labor cooperation.
Yeah, yes.
Kung meron silang need, usually ho, marami ho tayong mga bayan sa Europa na nangangailangan ng labor, lahat. So everything is being considered.
Yeah. Kasi parte po dun sa bilateral talks, and correct me, Secretary, if I'm
Yes.
wrong, the way I understand is that kung meron ho tayong ongoing bilateral talks, I'm not talking about security, not just defense, but what you have described as a
Yes.
gamut. No?
Yes.
There's labor relations, and some of these countries are also in demand of workers, na sabi ni
Yes.
Paul, labor relation. Alam mo na ho, sa buong mundo, ang Pinoy magagaling po, di ba? Magagaling po yan eh.
Gold standard.
Yes, gold standard tayo magtrabaho. Now, there are emerging industries po, no, na attorney din. Of course, nandyan yung sa healthcare, no? Tayo po
Yes.
alam buong mundo.
Correct.
We produce the best nurses, we produce a lot of health workers. But ito pong with the advent of technologies like AI, that they need more infrastructure, not just the software but AI. These are very critical in emerging industries. Alam ko po, ang Pilipino sa atin, mostly doon naninirahan, iba may hindi lang ho naninirahan, hindi nagma-migrate, but talagang doon nagtatrabaho. In the DFA, do we have like a kasi ang issue is baka magkaroon ng brain drain, yung sinasabi nila. Wala nang maiwan sa atin dito, lahat na lang magsialisan, no? Ano po yung natin? How do we see balancing with our protecting our own national interest with that of the need of other countries for labor, for manpower, na alam naman po natin marami din po ang bagay ito dahil ang balik naman po talaga sa atin din ay malaki din in terms of revenue because of the remittances ng ating mga OFW. So how do we balance between our national interest? We're not talking about interest of territory, our interest by keeping a substantial number of workers here in the Philippines, while the need also to go abroad for these people to have their, maybe seeking greener pasture.
Maganda hong tanong yan. But I think we have to involve other agencies, particularly, again, the DMW and the Department of Health. Si Department of Health is also very vigilant sa pagtingin nila sa mga number of health workers natin. Marami hong mga permutations o mga palaisipan kung paano nila. The European countries are very concerned kasi ayaw din nila tayo mag-suffer ng brain drain. So may mga I'm trying to think of those countries, pero may mga proposals sila na, let's say, magpo-provide sila ng scholarships para sa mga upcoming mga estudyante na, so yung parang
targeted po yung industry.
Targeted yung industry, tapos nakafocus, itong kukunin namin, pero I'm providing you scholarships for the next coming generation or whatever. Yan, isa ho yan sa mga proposals.
Yeah. Okay.
Marami pa ibang home proposals na it helps us also take care and make sure na ito rin namang ating mga health workers, particularly nurses, continue to stay here and also serve the Filipino people.
Now, Secretary, there's a thin line between the mandate of the DFA and the DMW. Kasi minsan, yung mga ating ordinary Filipinos, alin ba ditong area ang DFA, alin po yung area ng DMW. Meron ba tayong way, kasi isa rin sa mga questions na lumapit po sa atin, mga concerns ng ating mga kababayan, is those who are seeking employment abroad. Sometimes they become victims of, ang mga recruitment agencies in the Philippines. Although we already have that policy para po sugpuin yung mga ganitong klaseng kalakaran na hindi tama kasi you're actually parang these agencies, recruitment agencies, inexploit nila yung vulnerability ng ating mga kababayan. I believe there's also that tool or a mechanism or a plan. How does DFA do that in trying to really prevent, maybe ka-partnership with BMW to prevent yung tong mga pinapadala ng ating mga kababayan doon sa abroad na minsan na pagdating nila doon, iba pala yung kontratang sinayin na nila, iba pala yung mapupuntahan nila ng trabaho. So these kind of things, how does the DFA come into the picture? Like I know this also mostly a an issue of DMW, a challenge for DMW, but how does the interplay between DFA and DMW
Actually, hindi lang ho DMW ang involved.
Okay, POEA.
Because POEA, I mean, even BI, immigration, kasi yung paglabas, doon pa lang mismo may determination ako minsan ito ba ay trafficking or hindi. Kaya makikita nyo even pag sa airport, very strict na rin yung mga immigration officials. Hihingin sa inyo yung mga dokumento nyo, everything. So, isa yan sa mga usap-usapan namin, pinag-uusapan rather. Pagdating naman nakarating na sila, then there's also some kind of regional and multilateral na. May mga proseso sa iba't ibang mga bayan na how to treat this people that are trafficked na niloko ng mga recruitment agencies. Kasi nga, hindi naman sila ang may kasalanan, biktima sila.
Yeah, biktima sila.
So, a number of NGOs are involved as well as, again,
so we partner din po with NGOs na hindi lang talaga.
Yes, kasi it's the problem is it doesn't only emanate pag nakarating na dun Bago pa lang umalis, dapat nakikita na yun
But we do have also the tally and the numbers by which
we deal with NGOs, CSOs, and many other, lalo na pag yung embahada na is with facing these problems.
Okay, sige. So, Sir, Secretary, may medyo pag-usapan po natin kasi alam ko tayo yung chair ng ASEAN ngayon. No?
Yes.
So, sa ongoing po ng natin ngayon, pag-host natin ng ASEAN, kailan po matatapos itong hosting natin sa ASEAN? Yeah?
Technically, matatapos ito ng December, at the end of the year. Pero nakita nyo na yung successful first summit in Cebu na hosted by President Marcos. ASEAN lang po iyon.
Okay.
So mga ASEAN member states. Merong isang malaking event na gagawin din in July. Ministerial meeting yon sa aking level ho lang yon. Pero the next big summit, the second summit is in November. Dito na naman ho, hindi lang ASEAN member states but dialogue countries. So, ilan pong ating
When you say dialogue countries po,
mga partners ho natin.
So, hindi lang ho sa ASEAN?
Hindi na.
Okay.
So, malaki ito. So, nandiyan there's so many of them. Australia, China, India, Russia, US. So we're looking at marami pa EU. So we're looking at the heads of states of these dialogue countries.
So that's an anticipated event, no?
It is. It's a very big event.
Yes, yeah. So while we are while we chair the ASEAN ngayon, have we already as a result of this ongoing, kasi may visit po dito, di ba? We are hosting like summits, di ba? And Cebu, you mentioned.
Yes, ito naman. Mag-host na
naman tayo. Have we already
tayo.
targeted kung ano yung mga areas of cooperation where we can strengthen our our relationship with our ASEAN neighbors?
Okay.
Or is it ongoing discussion pa?
Well, mag-uumpisa po yun dito sa meeting namin sa July, which I will be hosting with also ASEAN member states and again the dialogue countries, pero ministerial level. So pag-uusapan na namin ng mga iba't ibang mga issues, like kunyari, let's look at ASEAN Australia. So dun pagdating na sa summit level, of course yung Prime Minister ng Australia will be there, and then of course all the heads of state. So pag-uusapan na anything that has been done during that year with ASEAN, the 11 in Australia. So the 11 ASEAN member states in Australia. Ano yun? Marami ho yun factional cooperation Marami doon ng
So it ranges from different areas of cooperation.
Right. You see, from maritime cooperation to scholarships given by Australia to a myriad, madami ho activities for each and every dialogue country.
Which would benefit greatly our country.
Definitely. Definitely.
Thank you very much po. So, hindi pa rin dito nagtatapos ang talakayan. Marami pa tayong pag-uusapan kasama si DFA Secretary Lazaro sa pagbabalik ng In ConverZation.
Ating tunghayan ang mga kwentong magbibigay ng inspirasyon, kabutihan at pagkamakabayan kasama ang ating host na si Bob Ferrer dito sa Good Stories.
Malaking tulong ito sa mga kabataan, no? Dahil sila ay na-expose, nararamdaman nila na sila ay ina-appreciate, pinapalakpakan sila, hinahangaan sila.
Mga istorya ng malasakit sa kapwa, sa kapaligiran, at sa komunidad nating kinabibilangan.
Sustainability will always start at home. So, ang laki ng role ng isang nanay na maging halimbawa sa kanilang tahanan.
Yung kulturang Pilipino, sanay tayo sa tinatawag na bayanihan. Kahit anong kalamidad dyan, may puso pa rin ang Pilipino na mapagkawang gawa.
Good Stories, Sabado, 9:30 ng umaga. Dito lang sa IBC 13. Dahil kailangan updated ka sa lahat ng mga kaganapan, 13 Express ang para sa'yo.
Posible ring maapektuhan ang pagbabudget ng COMELEC para sa sunsan ng pambansang pulisya.
Latest news throughout the day, ihahatid ng tapat at totoo. 13 Express, Lunes hanggang Biyernes sa IBC 13. Kaibigan, if your relationship with your partner is full of dishonesty, lies, and you're just being fake, then that's a red flag. It's like sharing fake news to people on the internet. IBC 13 strongly believes that fake news is abuse, and it's definitely a red flag. Because misinformation causes harm to people, to an organization, and even to loved ones. Let's not be toxic or be a red flag. Let's be green flags and spread factual news, because fake news is abuse.
Nagpapatuloy ang In ConverZation. Kasama pa rin natin ang kalihim ng Department of Foreign Affairs na si Maria Theresa Lazaro. Filipinos who already have valid passports, may dapat daw po ba silang gawin? Or para magiging epektibo ba ito ang kanilang kasalukuyang passports? I believe there's an extension of the 5-year passport.
Lahat po ng
validity.
passports na na-issue about a few years back is a validity of 10 years.
10 years, yes.
So, ayan, medyo nakakagana yan sa pagpaparenew nila. So, wala ho silang dapat gawin. Pagkatapos po ng expiration ng passports nila, pumunta lang sila sa respect sa mga passport offices.
Yes, at saka may mga regional offices naman
Meron,
po.
we have 20 22 consular offices all over the Philippines.
At saka alam ko po sa mga even the LGUs also partner with DFA kasi sa probinsya ho namin sa Lanao del Sur every year nagkakaroon ho tayo ng
meron pa nga ho
passporting.
kaming passport on wheels. May mga lugar na siguro hindi mapuntahan. Kunyari, let's say Mindoro, nagpapadala kami ng passport on wheels kasi wala naman talagang malapit siguro. May konting distansya sa mga pinakamalapit na consular office. But we're there to serve. Wala ako silang gagawin. Pakita nila yung passport nila na expired, and we will give them a new passport.
So ayan, hindi lang po pag 5 years. Actually, validity is 10 years na po. So, may tanong din po, Sectes, no? Bilang dating ambassador sa France, Monaco at Switzerland at permanent delegate to UNESCO, paano daw ho ninyo nakikita ang papel ng kultura at edukasyon sa diplomacy? It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. Pinaka-importante ho yung sa kultura, sinabi na sa edukasyon, pati sa science and technology, and that's what yun ho ang representation ng UNESCO. Itinayo ng United Nations yan para sa mga different aspects ng ganito. Pero bigyan ko lang kayo ng ehemplo. It also becomes a benchmarking sa education. Kunyari sa education, sila po ang UNESCO nagsabi na a certain percentage, alam niyo po ito siguro kung a certain percentage should be given by the country for education. Si UNESCO ang nagganyan, ang nagbigay niyan based on the experts' opinion. And another thing, let's say also on culture, meron ho tayong tinatawag na mga UNESCO heritage sites.
Yeah.
Meron ho tayong 6 o 7 dito sa Pilipinas. Yes, Banawe Rice Terraces, the Tubataha, may ano ho yan, may karamihan po yan. And ito po is for the Westerners, particularly the Europeans. Ang attraction nila palagi is saan ba ang UNESCO Heritage Site? Doon sila pumupunta. Kaya kung may makikita kayong mga Europeans ang gusto nilang puntahan kasi malapit dito sa Panlanding, is always Banawe Rice Terraces. Kasi totoo naman,
it's really a tourist attraction.
It attracts tourists. So ito po yung kainaman din itong mga ito yung heritage at the same time na napapakita natin ang value, ang heritage, the natural beauty ng
ating bansa. And in a way, dahil doon sa kanilang interest, they also get to know more and deeper about the Philippines in our culture and identity. That's good.
So ano ho yan, it's really a plus factor.
For the country.
And then I just want to tell you din po, Congressman, that we just became a member of the Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee. Ano naman po itong Intangible Cultural Heritage? Ito naman po isang committee that will decide, let's say, yung ang kapapasa lang is the sa aklan ho ba, yung paggawa ng husi. So this is now something na nalalaman ng buong mundo na ano pala, there's such a thing. So
Actually, good thing, Secretary, na mention mo yan. Kasi yung brass making namin,
that is something that we can also...
maybe we can also...
Sige po.
Lalapit na lang po ako sa inyo.
Lalapit po kayo.
baka matry din na ho natin
Lalapit
makita
po kayo,
yun. So how to preserve that.
Pati yung parol ng Pampanga, pinapasok namin. Marami ho tayo niyan. And I think we have to really project and promote our intangible cultural heritage.
That's correct. So, next question po, Secretary. So, how do you plan to engage with the public to make foreign policy more understandable and relevant to everyday life?
Yung nga, DMW is nakafocus sila sa ating mga overseas OFWs. Pero with our new mandate now, ang Department of Foreign Affairs, yung pong and others. Kagaya na sinabi ko, estudyante, yung mga nag-Hajj na naipit in Saudi, estudyante, ang tawag ito, mga siguro turista. Meron tayong mga turista na nagiging nagkakaroon ng aksidente. And kami po yun. Kami ang nag-aano sa kanila, umaaruga.
Ang embahada po sa mga...
Sa embahada.
Sa embahada.
Kasi partner na rin po naman ng embassy at saka DMW usually situated in one place.
Tama po. So, ito po, medyo personal po ito, Secretary Tessa. So, bilang career diplomat for such a long time, ano daw po ang personal mission ninyo bilang DFA Secretary? It's a more broad question, no?
Actually,
I think your job there as a Secretary of Foreign Affairs do speak speak about your background as a long-serving diplomat,
Well,
the long-serving diplomat.
For one who's probably the entire life was spent in the Department of Foreign Affairs, I think ang nakikita ko lang po is to make the DFA a more professional, a professional group, a very disciplined, and yung concerns namin should be also, of course, nandiyan yung based on the 3 pillars. Pero I think professionalism. Actually, since I started also with, since I assumed the position, I had one of my objectives is also fiscal prudence. Because for every peso that is given to us, I think we should spend it correctly.
Yeah.
So we have almost 101 foreign service posts, and we make sure that they do not only take care of our Filipinos there, but also enhance the political and economic relations.
Also under your stewardship, we are opening some embassies, no?
Opo.
In other countries like in the Caribbean and
Yes, mag-open po tayo. Kabubukas lang natin ng 3. I hope I remember Busan, in Korea, in our Republic of Korea. We opened in Ho Chi Minh, which is the business sector, in Vietnam. And the third one na binuksan is in Seattle. Kasi ang dami rin doon tayong mga kababayang Pilipino. Now, anong bubuksan natin ngayon? One will be in Florida. This is not only for the Filipinos doon sa na ang dami-dami nating kababayan sa Florida, but we're also looking at the Caribbean. Kasi ang dami-dami din tayong mga kababayan na nagtatrabaho sa mga maliliit na Caribbean states. We're opening in Accra, which is in Ghana. We are of the view na kailangan tayong lakihan natin ang footprint natin sa Africa, because Africa there's really so much there, so much resources. The Filipinos are also working there, so talagang hindi dapat natin din pabayaan yon. And the last is we're opening in Astana in Kazakhstan, which is Central Asian Republic. Wala pa ho tayong presence doon. Pero
kailangan natin maging
kailangan din natin kasi the opportunities are there. In fact, meron tayong isang Filipino company who established also business in Uzbekistan. So,
sabi ko nga, magagaling talaga ang mga Pilipino. Maski saan ko sila mapunta, talagang nagtatrive talaga sila. At sa bahaging ito, bibigyang linaw at sasagutin ng ating guest ang mga tanong ng publiko sa iba't ibang issue. Handa ka na ba, Secretary Lazaro?
Ano po ang may papayo nyo sa mga kabataang gustong maging diplomat balang araw?
Marami na ngayon. Marami na hong gustong mag-enter into diplomacy.
Siguro ang basic muna is that ano pa naman, mga bata pa naman is really to read a lot. Reading, understanding is para magkaroon ng perspektibo na of course konektado yung lokal, national news, pero kailangan din makita palagi ano nangyayari sa labas. After reading, siguro when they finish college, alam niyo po, ang foreign service, ang dami po naming abogado na nag-a-apply, pero sa totoo lang ho, kailangan namin all sectors. Meron kami nurses, meron kami mga rin scientists, meron kami, and we're encouraging it. Kasi nga, multidisciplinary yung issues na dinidiscuss namin sa when we are dealing with other countries. Like maritime cooperation, we need experts on anything that pertains to the sea.
Yeah.
So,
kasi ano tayo, archipelagic
tayo. So yun, kailangan namin.
Kailangan talaga natin expertise.
Right. Although, of course, tumatakbo kami sa mga agencies ng gobyerno that will help us, like the Marine Science Institute ng UP. Kasi we need expertise, we need the experts there.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Paano makatulong ang foreign relations sa paglikha ng trabaho para sa mga Pilipino?
In every instance, sa bawat panahon na ang Pangulong Marcos ay nakikipag-usap sa iba't ibang mga leader ng ibang bayan, I think at the back, pag nagkaroon ng political interaction as well as economic discussions, wala naman pong nasa likod ng pag-iisip niya at namin din sa foreign affairs, kundi ang benepisyo sa mga tao. So, trabaho, at the same time, kung magtayo ng negosyo dito, again, para benepisyo pa rin ng Filipino people.
May mga programa ba ang DepEd para ikayatin na highly skilled worker na bumalik at mag-stay sa Pilipinas?
I think ito po yung mga questions na I think it has something to do with also their engagement with other agencies.
Right.
But for the DFA, do we have a particular program?
This is really within the purview of the Department of Migrant Workers. Meron po silang mga ginagawa tungkol dito.
I agree. Anyway, so maraming salamat po, Secretary Tess Lazaro, Maria Theresa Lazaro, sa pagpapaunlak po dito sa aming programa. And God bless po. We root for you.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully we would have some engagement in the coming days para hindi lang protektahan nating bansa, but also to contribute even in a small way to your, not only to your leadership, but also to make known to the world how the ingenuity of the Filipino nation.
Congressman, maraming salamat sa iyo at sa Channel 13, sa IBC 13 for pagbigay ninyo ng oportunidad sa akin at saka sa Department of Foreign Affairs to also
and thank you very much po sa pagpapaunlak niyo sa amin. Again, mabuhay po kayo. More power po, Secretary Tess. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much
po. At dyan po nagtatapos ang isang oras na talakayang tapat at may paninindigan. Patuloy tayong makialam at siyasatin ang mga ginagawa ng ating mga lingkod bayan. Dahil mahalaga po ang papel ng mga ahensya ng gobyerno para sa kapakanan at pag-unlad ng bawat Pilipino. Hanggang sa muli, ako po si Lano del Sur, 1st District Representative Zia Alonto Adiong, at ito po ang In ConverZation.